Ciao, allora impara. Yeah, baby shark. Baby shark. You know, a lot. Every year, you know, right. So after fine. Yeah, I have something for you. I don't know about
No, it's the water polo has yes. Next, the polo I don't like
Japanese.
yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, before I teach, I do at the continuing international training center.
You there? Also, what is it? Japan. Where are you at? Yeah.
I don't know. Here, and I watch Korea. I put in Korea. I have a change program with the yeah.
All the 13 years old or the older one? Older one.
One man is stressful and another man
You hosted them.
no, another
Our group, I don't know. Do you have a discussion or we go straight now? I don't know.
Estelle, we also put up the top 3 winners for the Kahoot quiz, but I don't think Malaysia is here, right? So who's as Malaysia boleh? Because if it's a tie. Okay. It's who? Oh, Zahir. Then we gotta replace Zahir. Okay, because it needs to be 3 foreign top 3 winners. Okay. Okay, so let me introduce to you our last keynote speaker. Her name is Miss Al-Batool Baroom. She's the CEO of the Saudi Olympic Academy. She also serves as the Vice Chair of the Olympic Council of Asia's Peace Through Sports Committee. As CEO of the Saudi Olympic Academy, she's responsible for developing programs in the Olympic education and coordinating international exchanges. Her role in the Olympic Council of Asia involves contributing to policies and programs that use sport as a mechanism for peace and cooperation among Asian nations. Through her leadership, the Saudi Olympic Academy has developed partnerships with international organizations, including the International Olympic Academy. Please join hands with me to welcome Ms. Batool.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. It's really a privilege and an honor to be here today with fellow NOAs from around Asia that share the same aspirations and probably even go through the same struggles. I know you've been through 2 full days of activities, so probably you're a bit tired now. I'm gonna try my best to keep you awake. This is more of a conversation. That's what I'm hoping to achieve. So please, if at any point you have a comment or a question, feel free to just raise your hand and ask me. I'm today here to share my experience. I'm hoping that what I will be sharing with you could be beneficial to your NOAs as well. Okay. Just waiting for the technical part. So while we're waiting, I'd just like to ask, how many of you have been to Saudi Arabia before? Wow. Okay. So how many of you have heard about what's going on in sports in Saudi? Okay. Have you ever heard about the Saudi Olympic Academy? We're relatively new, so I understand if you haven't. Okay. Okay. So first, I'd really like to thank the Singapore Olympic Academy for inviting us and for the IOA for thinking about us in this regard. We share something together we are both SOA. So when I say SOA in my presentation, I do mean the Saudi Olympic Academy. So I'm going to start with some quotes. I know you've heard in the past few days about what really the role of our NOAs is and how we sit in the heart of the Olympic movement. And we all know from the establishment of the Olympic movement that it was around promoting Olympism and Olympic values. But in reality, and I know the people who worked in NOAs know this, when it comes to prioritization, when it comes to allocating funds or resources, sometimes the NOA is not really at the top of the agenda because the results that come out and the impact are not as tangible as seeing a gold medal, for instance. So this is why I'm here to share some of our experience that maybe how can we prioritize Olympic education? How can we really put it at the heart of the movement? So I'll give you a bit of background and context about Saudi and the Saudi Olympic Academy. Our National Olympic Committee was established in 1964. Last year, we celebrated our 60th anniversary. I know Singapore is celebrating this year. And then later, the Paralympic Committee was established in 92. And only recently in 2021 was the Saudi Olympic. In 2021, there were two main things that happened. The Olympic Committee and Paralympic Committee got merged. So now it's SOPC, Saudi Olympic and Paralympic Committee, and the establishment of the Saudi Olympic Academy. And then immediately in 2022, one of the first things that we did was to establish a relationship with the International Olympic Academy. And I'll talk a bit about that later as well. So if you know about Saudi, there's a lot of things that are happening. There's been a transformation happening since 2016. There's a big vision called Vision 2030 that has been working its way to transform the Saudi country and society into an active community, into a live economy. And one of the things that there's a big focus on is sports. So the idea of why was the Olympic Academy established at this time and why now? Because this is a pivotal moment in Saudi history. You know, when they say the stars have aligned, this is the case of what happened in Saudi Arabia. So we have a very youthful demographic. 70% of the population is under the age of 35. We are investing a lot in sports, and we have a whole roadmap of mega events that are taking place in Saudi Arabia from now to 2034. This is not even a comprehensive list. Other than that, you will find a lot of other things like Tafisa, the Sports for All sports, other championships in different sports as well that are happening. But as you can see, some of the main things are the Olympic esports that are happening in 2027, the World Cup and the Asian Games in 2023, and then the Winter Asian Games in 2029. There's a big alignment when it comes to Olympic education and the vision of the country. This is a little bit to explain how it works. So on the top, we have Vision 2030. It's a vision for the whole country. Out of it comes a lot of different programs and initiatives. The sports sector is under different entities, and the Saudi Olympic Academy sits in a place where it can serve the sector in a good way, along with the education sector as well. Just a minute. Okay. And also we have a strategic alliance with our NOC. I will in one of later I will talk about how it's really important to establish a good connection with your NOC. So within the new strategy of the NOC sits the NOA. We have promoting sports and increasing awareness on Olympic values as one of the strategic pillars that have been in the new approved strategy. The current state of Olympic education, as you can see, we were established in 2021. The idea of Olympic education is fairly new. It's a little bit fragmented. We have been putting a lot of effort, but there's a lot of potential with all of the factors that I have mentioned above. So, to give you a brief about the academy, as any academy, our vision and mission is about promoting Olympism and Olympic values and creating that culture within the society. We focus on a few strategic pillars. Of course, Olympic education is at the core of everything that we do. We are trying to put a little bit more effort in research and innovation, community engagement, and capacity building within the sports sector. We work very closely with our NOC. We work closely with national federations and clubs and society at large. To give an idea, so the NOA was established as an independent entity, but with administrative and financial ties to our NOC. So we are kind of a subsidiary that sits under the NOC, but at the same time, we have our own board of directors. To show you also the ties on our board of directors, all of the people we have are key stakeholders to the NOA. Our president is Prince Fahad, who is also the vice president of the NOC. We have the secretary general of our Olympic committee also on the board. And then we have some high-level selected federations. I'll give you a quick overview of what we have done in the past 3 years. We were established in 2021, but we started operating in 2022. So we have been operating for 3 years. This is just a quick overview about the numbers that we have achieved in the last few years in terms of education and training programs. And here in terms of events, participation, and community engagement. And I'll come to some of the details as well. So in 2022, that's when we started. We just had very few seminars and workshops to kick off the academy. In 2023, you'll see that we have expanded a little bit, and we kicked off the first edition of the Olympic Studies Diploma in 2022, but it finished in 2023. We did a lot of work closely with the NOC to understand what their needs are and to use it for some capacity building within NOC and national federations. We also had a great opportunity to work with the Ministry of Education to deliver an introductory seminar about Olympic values to PE teachers. In 2024, we expanded even more. Our collaboration with the IOA has really showed its best last year with 3 different programs that we've done. The Olympic Leadership Program that we targeted high-level seniors who are working within the NOC and CEOs or general secretaries of national federations. We did a forum for journalism and media, which was a very successful event that we had 120 different journalists and media professionals who attended. And as Makis, I remember, mentioned yesterday, I think during the conversation, it's really important to target different groups. Media is a group that is normally neglected when it comes to Olympic education. But if they don't understand, it would be hard for them to communicate in the way that we want. And it would limit the spreading of the awareness on Olympic values. Those are even more things that we have done. And then some of the international programs, the IOA, one of the priorities was to make sure that we have participation within IOA programs, that we show I joined in 2023, and immediately 2 months after I joined the first delegate sessions of NOAs and NOCs. And it was really an eye-opening experience because you get to meet with different NOAs That's what brings ideas together, collaborations and synergies. So I really urge people who are working with NOAs and are looking for these kind of collaborations to go to the IOA session. Some other international programs that we have sent people to or participated in, including, of course, the IOC programs. And we have established a close relationship with the NOC to work with the Olympic Solidarity Department. We've also had the privilege of joining some other national Olympic academies in some of their courses, either to learn from them or to participate in their programs. In terms of events, every year we run the Olympic Day in collaboration with the NOC. So it's a joint event that is run. We include every year, depending on, of course, the space that we have or the venue, different national federations, and they really enjoy this experience. And we opened it the past 2 years to the public. In the beginning, it used to be an internal kind of like for employees, and then we opened it to their families and their children, and it became even more engaging. We also include some other entities who celebrate Olympic Day in parallel on the same day on their premises. So big, some of the giga projects such as NEOM and Giddiya and the Royal Commission of Al-Ula also do the National Day celebrations. School visits was an important part. We usually combine it. We do it during the games. So as I mentioned before, the roadmap of events that we have in Saudi Arabia is a great opportunity for Olympic education because we combine the event with some side events, cultural and educational events. So the school visits were usually part of Saudi Games and the World Combat Games. Saudi Games, we had 3 editions in 2023, 2024, no, 2022, 3, and 24. We also try to participate in other events, such as me being here today and sharing the experience. And I think that's really important to get some exposure, to communicate with people, for them to know that you exist and you know that they exist as well. And that's what creates partnerships. I mean, I've had during my stay here, this is the 3rd day, and I've had some very interesting conversations with different participants here about what we can do together or how we can share ideas and experience. In terms of research and innovation, so when we had the media and broadcasting forum, it was very interesting that we realized that none of the research that they had or the findings that they were saying are customized to the region, and they didn't have any data on the region. So it created a partnership with the University of Alabama to do a study on Olympic broadcasting and media consumption, which coincided greatly with the Paris Olympic Games last year. And I will share all of these slides with the organizing committee, and they can share them with you. I have here all of the links as well. So most of the things that here are clickable, and you can go and see the documents and the details. This is just also something that you can look later, our annual report for last year. So that's a quick overview. I think what I want to focus on, or what from my experience, are the key recommendations that came out of our work in the past 3 years. The first recommendation is engaging with key stakeholders, and this is really important. The first stakeholder, as always, is to establish a great relationship with your NOC. So in terms of SOA, as I showed you before, we have within the strategy, there is a clear strategic alignment with SOPC. We work on engaging top leadership. Whenever we have a program, we involve them. We actually even get from them what the needs are for NOCs and for national federations, because they are governing the national federations. And we have inclusive planning. So as I mentioned, we had last year the program of Olympic leadership. And what we did is we actually sent out a survey to all of our top senior leadership, asking what are the topics that they're interested in, if they have certain entities or people that they would like to see, just to make sure that we get their buy-in and that we include their feedback in the programming. That was the graduation of the program. As I said, getting the buy-in is very important. So always involve them, even in the planning phase, and keep them updated with the news. Communication is key because NOCs are very busy with what they're doing. They have a full calendar of events and competitions. They don't know what's going on with their NOA. So unless we take the effort to inform them and keep them updated, they will not be coming, knocking our doors, asking us for the updates. Shared governance, it really helps. So as I said, for us, we work under the National Olympic Committee. We share the shared services, all of the policies, and it helps to get things approved because we share the same structure and governance. And then, as I said, that is what can help the academy grow. Engaging key stakeholders. Another key stakeholder for us was the International Olympic Academy. Our president, thankfully, had a clear vision of what he wanted to do with the academy. And the first thing was that we came to the IOA knocking the doors to establish a collaboration. And this was one of the very top strengths that we had that enabled us to do a lot of programming. So we signed the MOU in May of 2022, and we launched the first Olympic Studies diploma immediately in a few months later. And since then, we have delivered a lot of collaborative programs to strengthen the ties. Another key stakeholder is the IOC. I understand that as NOAs, we cannot communicate directly with the IOC, but that's why I said the first stakeholder is the NOC. And through the NOC, you can establish a good relationship with the IOC. And when they see that you're active, especially in the programs that they care about, it will help you gain a reputation with them. And then from that, you can start getting their support and help. Olympic Solidarity is one of the key programs and funding that is needed for the NOAs, but again, through the NOC. We have ran with the IOC 2 key programs. We did our first OVIP, train the trainers with them last year. And then we did a safeguarding workshop this year, a few months ago in Riyadh. My second recommendation is about leveraging the games. The games are an opportunity for what we can call teachable moments. By creating sideline events, educational and cultural, it gives a lot of opportunity to spread Olympic education and Olympic values. And it also gives promotion to the NOA and the work that they are doing, emphasizing it and highlighting it to a different group of audience. So what we have been doing with Saudi Games and the World Combat Games, engage around school visits, fan zone booth, and side seminars that we do during these events. This was an example of one of the things that we've done in collaboration with the Saudi Tennis Federation. So they are hosting the ATP Next Gen and in Jeddah. And what we did is we co-created a coach conference with them. And with the IOA, we were also able to bring in one of our key guest speakers. Can you remind me of the name? Yes, Adonis, but he's here in Singapore. Wow. Okay. He honestly very inspirational. He's a Paralympic swimmer. He was even a swimmer, and then he got an accident and he became a Paralympic swimmer. So it showed a lot of grit on his side. And we had Rafa Nadal. So this is a picture I like to showcase. The third recommendation is about sustainable partnerships. As you know, NOAs don't get big funding usually, at least compared to the NOC. You will never have that huge funding of the NOC. The only way to expand your reach, your impact, is through partnerships. partnerships with different entities so you can leverage it to create bigger and more events. So like I gave you the example that we did the coach conference with the Saudi Tennis Federation. It's an event that they already have. They're leveraging the investment that they already put. And then we come in maybe a little bit extra just for a few things, and we're able to create a big impact. So this is how we've been operating in the past few years, and we are planning even on expanding on that through collaborations and corporations. And I know one of the entities, there is a federation that works also through that. And through these the collaborations, they claim that they are creating programs with a budget or impact of, I forgot, like $1 billion. But it's not really their money. It's not really their budget. They are counting each and every service, tangible, non-tangible, and collaboration as part of their budget. So this is something that will help increase and grow the projects that you're doing. We have worked with the Royal Commission. I'm just giving a few examples here of what we have done. With the Royal Commission of Al-Ula, we did an Olympic values program with them. It was the second time we invite the IOC, but we invited them for the diploma. What we did is we brought them a week before, and we took them to Al-Ula, and we did a small train the trainers for OVIP with local community coaches and PE teachers. And that even instigated the IOC to publish something on their website about what has been done in Al-Ula. And it opened doors for us to expand. Now we're in conversation with them to do a collaboration when it comes to culture and heritage and around sports. Next year, they will be hosting a equestrian world championship, and we might be doing some sideline cultural and educational events with them. One of the big partnerships is with Princess Noura University. We have already started from last year, and we have involved them in OVIP. We involved them in the Olympic Studies diploma. They are part of our supervisors, and we are slowly moving to have the diploma with academic credit from the Princess Noura University. So it would be a close collaboration with them. These are some of the other entities that we are building collaborations with. Each entity in a different way and in a different audience segment and what we can do. For instance, Leaders Development Institute, LDI, is the training arm of the Ministry of Sports, and they are the ones who are creating frameworks for accreditation of coaches. So what we have had in discussion with them now is to include a part about Olympic values within the coach framework for community coaches. So you couldn't be licensed unless you had this part about Olympic values. And then the last or the fourth recommendation is about focusing on some key strategic initiatives. For us, one of our signature programs is the Olympic Studies Diploma, and we are working very closely on enhancing it. The IOA is our main collaborator on this program, and year over year, this is the second edition of the program, and we are already planning the third edition for next year. And I can say that one of the signs of success about the second year is that even though we only announced it internally, we got around 130 applications for the program. And we want to use it as a strategic platform for promoting Olympic education. We target different groups. So within the diploma, we have some coaches, we have athletes, we have NOC administrators, we have people from national federations, clubs, and even some private entities in the sports sector. Improvement on edition. So this is why I'm saying to focus on key strategic initiatives that can help you improve and enhance these programs. So we started the first year with the IOA. We continue, of course, with the IOA. This year, we added an element of project work. We added more criteria for being accepted and the application process. And we added the local academic advisors. Next year, we are relying more on Princess Noura University to manage some of the academic part. We will be adding local guest speakers. So each part, we know that there's some customization that is happening to it, and to ensure the sustainability of the program for years to come. And we are looking to open it to international audiences. This is a bit more information if you want about the diploma. Another key program is the Olympic Values Education Program. And here the target is a little bit different. The target in this case is more about communities and schools and universities. If it doesn't, it's fine. I can.
I was very amazed by how the people connected very quickly. They were coming from different institutions and they were eager to dialogue and to work together, and plenty of wonderful smile and conversation among them.
It was a great experience. I think every OVET workshop in different countries is different from another one. I built on the strengths and weaknesses of participants in different countries, and here it was just flawless. I think we worked very well together as a group from the beginning. From the first minutes, everyone was engaged into it, 100% giving all their best. Important for me was to make sure that participants understand what the program is all about, its essence, the experiential part of it, and the exercises at the end where each group had to develop their own approach, their own project, showed that they got the essence of what it was all about.
كانت حقيقة ورش وتتيح فرصة جميع المشاركين أن يضعوا مشاريع لتنفيذ هذه القيم داخل مدارسنا وداخل جامعاتنا وفي المجتمعات.
Sorry, I thought there were some headlines in English, but you can understand the gist of what
بين
they're saying.
أولادنا وبناتنا المنشأ في أكاديمية ما وفي مدارس المملكة بشكل عام. وبإذن الله بالتعاون مع جميع الجهات اللي حضرت الدورة هنا هنقدر بعون الله إنه نوصل هذه القيم ندرسها في أولادنا وفي المنظومة التعليمية بشكل كامل بعون الله.
So here we had also a different group of entities and audience. Some of them were teachers, some of them were coaches, some of them are from Mahd Academy, which is an elite training facility for young athletes. And we had some people from national federations, including Sports for All and the University Federation. And I think this diversity was very important to enrich the program and the training.
والشيء الأكبر شيء نتطلع له احنا كمشاركين في هذا البرنامج انه كيف احنا حنوصل القيم الأولمبية من خلالنا كأفراد لجميع سواء منسوبي القطاع الرياضي وما أبعد من ذلك بإذن الله لضمان عملية نشر القيم الأولمبية بشكل مستدام في المملكة وعلى المستوى الدولي أيضا. ويعطيكم العافية. شكرا جزيلا.
And sorry about the numbering, but this is the final recommendation that I have for today is about localization. It's really, really important that you can customize to your audience, to your to the culture, so that people have a better understanding, so people are more accepting to what you are trying to do. I'll give you a real example when it comes to safeguarding, for instance. Safeguarding is a very sensitive issue, and it's very different from country to country and from context to context. We had to work very closely with the safeguarding team in order to let them understand and adapt what safeguarding is in Saudi, because maybe in one culture something could be considered okay, in another culture it's not, and vice versa. So it's really important to adapt these things, and also gives a sense of ownership when you have local information embedded in it. So for instance, when we speak about the Olympic diploma and we're talking about governance and strategy, and this is what we want to do next year, is that we include someone from the local community to speak about the strategy and governance within Saudi Arabia, within the system, within the NOC. This also translation is important because we realize that the reach can never be 100% if we don't have programs that are in Arabic. So far, to be honest, we have been very limited when it comes to Arabic. And I think it will take time because we need to build the capabilities, we need to build the knowledge so that we have enough people who are able to train in Arabic. Although a lot of the toolkits and the content is translated, but it's different when you have also the expert who can convey that information. Customized delivery models. So always look at your audience, see what's easier for them. Is it easier online? Is it easier to do it face to face? Is it more accessible, or is it better to have a long session or a short session that is spread over a longer period of time? So listening to your audience and the feedback helps you in customizing these programs. And so I think it's key to driving sustainability and scalability of these programs. Thank you very much. This is our social media accounts. If you'd like to know more about us or follow us and get information. In the presentation that I will send you, I have a few slides that I kept later, but just for your information. I did my MEMOS project. I just graduated 2 weeks ago from my master's. Thank you. So my MEMOS project was about how we can build a strategy and framework for Olympic education in Saudi. There were some very interesting findings. I had input from a lot of people, probably including some of the people here in the room. I surveyed nationally and internationally. So I added a few slides for your reference if you're interested to know more about some of the recommendations and insights that came out of that study. So that's it for now. Thank you so much. And please let me know if you have any comments or questions or you would like further information.
Okay, so everyone, thank you very much, Ms. Baroom, for your presentation. It's time for Q&A. Anyone has a question to start? Okay, Nipat first and then Ross.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Baroom, Nipat from Thailand. I have to say that I'm very honored and happy to listen to your action and achievements. For me, unbelievable. For the first only 2 or 3 years after you set up your own SOA, I mean Saudi Olympic Academy, right? Yeah. Apart from the e-sport that we know that, I mean, you're gonna host in Saudi Arabia in 2027. Could you please tell us more about your own thought about the impact of the AI for your own works in Saudi Olympic Academy? Thank you.
Okay. First of all, about esports, to be very frank with you, I don't know that much. I think it's an important area to explore. So what we did is that we're getting a lot of questions about esports. People are interested not in just the event as esports, but also to be educated about it and to know more about how these things work, which includes partly what you're saying about AI. And we're trying more and more. I must say, till now, we have been a little bit short when it comes to AI and esports. We established a connection now with the Esports Federation. They have an Esports Academy. And next year, we added a full module within our Olympic Studies diploma about AI, esports, and innovation in sports. It takes time and it takes resources to be able to create new content, to be up to date with everything that's going on. And as you know, I'm sure we're much better than a lot of NOAs when it comes to the resources, but still, it's not enough for the aspirations that we want to. So we're really spread thin across the current projects, and we're trying to do more and more. And this is also a reason why I say collaborations are very, very important. So if I can establish a strong collaboration with an entity that can help me run with something, especially if you're able to align with them strategically. So then they can do most of the work and you can be, helping them and creating that kind of synergy. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Nipat. Okay, next we have Ross. Yeah. In the middle.
Hi, this is Ross from
Hi,
Hong Kong.
Ross.
Lovely to meeting you, madam. I did my research in Dubai Expo and then also Qatar FIFA World Cup.
Nice.
Looking forward to see more Middle Eastern mega events and up and coming. Of course, we know we have at least 4 to 5 really mega events happening in the coming 5 years. I would like to know what is your role or even the overall SOA for developing the legacy for the events. That is a huge task, definitely. I would like to hear from your perspective. Thank you.
That's a big question, Ross. That puts a lot of pressure on us. I'll say there's a few things. One of the things that we're trying to do now, as I showed you, but with small steps, is that we're trying to be involved by creating sideline events that are educational and cultural, and to be able to work also with the local organizing committee to ensure that even within the local organizing committee that they understand what we're trying to do. So for example, what we did with tennis, what we did during Saudi Games is our national mini Olympics, I would say, but it is a big event because it had last time I think it had like 50 something sports in happening in Riyadh. So it's good training to work on these the national events because it's training for everyone. It was even good training for the national federations to be organizing these events within a big national event, and then for us to kind of trial and error these programs. So we did like a volunteering seminar in one of them, and we did Olympism seminar, and we're now discussing with the Islamic Solidarity Sports Association because we have the Islamic Games actually in November, very soon, that are happening. So we want, even if it's something small, but the idea, as I said, to leverage the investments that are already happening. You have people coming from 57 different countries that will be there. How can we just use the expertise there and run a few programs? So that's now our focus is how we can establish a more efficient way and streamline these cultural and educational events so it's easy to run. And that does become part of the legacy as well. And then I think another part is that we're trying to focus on research and innovation. And part of the research is to understand how you can measure impact of these programs. Because as I said, when it comes to education, it's not something that you can immediately see. So how we can measure and showcase that, these events are creating, let's say, giving reputation to your country, or it's creating employment, it's bettering society, these kind of things with the help, I think, with all NOAs, because it's something that's shared between all of us. So if any NOA has a lead on these things, please help us. And then the third part is about also developing programs about sustainability, social inclusion, and these matters into the programs that we want to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you, Batool, for your answer. We have a question from our virtual delegates. Elisha asks, I'm very curious what the organizational structure of the Saudi Olympic Academy is. What is the staff strength, and do you rely a lot on volunteers?
Okay, that's a very good question. The first, in terms of the structure overall, like I said, we are a subsidiary of the NOC. We are independent, but we still are under them. In terms of administration and finance, it's fully the NOC. We do not have any shared services in the NOA. We have a team, including me, we're 5 people, but we work full time. We do not rely heavily on volunteers. We do to some extent in small things, but this is something that now, as the NOA, we're trying to create that culture of volunteerism in sports. Volunteering, especially in sports, is not part of the Saudi culture. It is becoming, because more and more we're having events and they're relying on volunteers, but it will take some time. Volunteering in general, usually it's in charity, is something very common in Saudi. The charitable spirit is something, because it's part of also the religious and cultural background, but in sports it's not. And professionalizing volunteering is something that's very important, that is also one of the key things that our president wants us to work on.
Thank you, Batul.
You're welcome.
Any questions from the floor? Any questions? Vic?
Good morning, Ms. Batul. It's an inspiring presentation. It's remarkable in the short space of time that you've accelerated and done so much quality work in
Thank
Saudi Arabia. Truly impressive. I speak on behalf of some of the NOAs in Asia and ASEAN. We do want to do some of these things that you've sorted out, but there are roadblocks in the sense that, one, we rely heavily on volunteers. Two, you mentioned it before, there is the centering of Olympic education as an important part of the Olympic movement is not quite pronounced in some of our countries.
Yeah.
And third, funding. Funding is always a problem, right? So I'm curious, yes, we can tap onto our own NOCs, but the work that you did in collaboration with the IOA or the IOC, would you at least elaborate a bit on that? See if
Sure.
you can share some ideas. Thank you.
Of course, and you have, luckily for you, you have the IOA here, so you can also ask for it. Honestly, it's been invaluable because IOA, how old are you, IOA? How old is the IOA? 65 years. We're only 3 years old, so you can imagine the amount of experience that we can get from 65 years. The networks. Like I started even later. I came in 2023, so I didn't know much. And as I mentioned, for me, the first point of establishing the network was attending the session at the IOA. And then after we established the collaboration as well, they have always been very generous with information, with networks, with lectures, invitations, content, ideas. So it's a big part of what you're trying to do, because to be honest, even with 5 full-time people, we don't have the capacity or the capabilities, let's say, to develop the content. You need experts to do that. So you need someone to open the door to these experts for you. From the IOC part, it's even like you have Olympic solidarity, but this, again, you need to establish a really good relationship with your NOC. So for instance, when we did the safeguarding program, we submitted a proposal to Olympic Solidarity and they accepted it. So there's a lot of things, by the way, forget about the things, the scholarships, and, there's a seat here and memos is covered or session is covered. There's a lot of other things that you can actually propose and send to the IOC, and they might accept it, of course, through your NOC. And this is why I say the close relationship. And you have to show that it's a strategic initiative for both. So it has to be something important to the NOC and to the IOC that, if you're saying, oh, I'm doing this with OVIP, but you're showcasing a timeline, you have a plan, the more tangible they see and the more thought through the proposal that come back to, but we'll cover up to 50. So that is a possibility. There is some funding there that we are not tapping, which is very important. And this I only learned after going to the Olympic Solidarity in Lausanne. Because I was with the Olympic Solidarity Department, they didn't give me all of the information. I went there and I got to know all additional information. KnockNet is a tool. If you are with your NOC, they can just send your email to the IOC and they can add you to KnockNet. So you have all of the other opportunities that are coming. There are a lot of training things, and sometimes for media professionals, sometimes. So it could be something that's streamlined through the NOA. So you become the hub for that. Also, I think generating revenue is something important. We haven't started yet, but we have it in the pipeline. But we need first a little bit of credibility for the programs, but then we can institute a fee so that can create some revenue. Looking for sponsors. Now that we have slightly some reputation, we can start looking for sponsors. And as I said, collaborations, believe me. Like a lot of the things, you can go to entities like a private company and you say, listen, for your CSR, I have these ideas. They have a lot of money. You don't. So you can use the money to create your project and achieve your KPIs.
Thank you, Vic, and thank you, Batool, for the questions. Any more questions from the floor? We have time for one more question. Nope. Okay, I have a question, Batool.
Please.
So Batool, thank you so much for your great presentation. You've been to many programs over the last couple of years. I want to ask you, what is your favorite event or program you've seen from other NOAs, aside from us, of course?
Yeah, it's very interesting because honestly, it's very interesting when you look at the NOAs. Each NOA has a strength that's different from the other. So, for instance, when part of my team went to the Young Ambassadors session in Malaysia, that was very interesting. And it sparked an idea that we want to create our national session in Saudi for young ambassadors. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to IOA, how many people can you send a year? Or at most, not supposed to say that, but so it's nice to create a platform nationally, have reach to a big audience of young people. With Hungary, for instance, I attended they did some OVIP activation during the Olympic qualifier series in Budapest. And it was very interesting how they worked with universities and schools, and they brought people during the qualifiers. So there were events happening and they had like different stations. They took school students in these different areas, and how they applied OVIP in a way that is practical for the students and the children. So I've seen the work of the Hellenic Olympic Academy as well with Denise. She's done some great work with schools there, and some things that they did with the museum and museum visits. So this is why it's really nice just to share, and then people get ideas from there. Like I love that you created this session. This is my first time here to attend the session with Singapore Olympic Academy. I think it's something that we might want to replicate. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Batool, and we hope to see the Saudi session
Thank
come
you.
to life very soon.
And I hope to see you all in Saudi at some point.
Please invite us. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Baroom. And can I please invite Professor Koh to give Ms. Baroom a token of appreciation? Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, since we have the important people here, and this is really the last sessions, maybe we see anything to add on based on the talk this morning. President, anything to talk to the audience?
Yes, I want to congratulate Batool. Really very impressive. I think that you show us the way, path, the only way that we have to change ideas is collaborate. build strong relations. This part. All of you, we probably national.
Good morning, everyone. Tula, thank you very much. It was really a very inspiring and informative presentation. And as I said 2 days ago, Saudi Olympic Academy was our first step in moving the IOA from Olympia to the outer world. And really, for me personally, it's very sentimental. So I hope we can even further strengthen this collaboration, not only with the Saudi Olympic Academy, with other enrolls as well.
Okay, over to you. Thank you so much, Prof. And thank you, Alex and President, for sharing their thoughts as well. Okay, so now.
All right, now we've got a small break, coffee break, tea break, whichever you want to call it. We'll be back here at 10:30 for your group presentation. So if you've got about 30 minutes, 35 minutes to polish up whatever you want to have a bit of a stretch, right? And we'll be back here at 10:30. Okay, all right.